You know that feeling when you finally achieve something you've worked toward your entire life. That moment when everything clicks into place and you think, I actually did it. Well, imagine that exact moment being shattered by the people who were supposed to be your biggest supporters. Because that's exactly what happened to me when my own parents decided to sue me for my house. Picture this. I'm standing in my brand new kitchen, sunlight streaming through the windows, coffee mug in hand, sorting through mail like any normal Tuesday morning. Then I see it, a certified letter with my parents' names on it. My heart drops. I tear it open and suddenly the world just stops. Edward and Marlene versus Arden. My own parents were taking me to court, demanding I hand over my house and pay them $300,000 in damages. The coffee mug slipped right out of my hands and shattered on the floor. Just like that, my perfect morning became a nightmare. Now, let me back up and tell you how we got here, because this story is wilder than you think. 2 weeks before that letter arrived, I had just closed on my very first home. $412,000. The biggest purchase of my life. I remember the real estate agent beaming as she handed me the keys, saying, "You did this completely on your own. That's something to be proud of." And I was proud. I celebrated alone with takeout Chinese food and a bottle of champagne I'd been saving since my promotion. I called my grandfather to share the news, walking through my empty rooms with my phone, showing him every corner. "Look at this, Grandpa. I did it." His eyes welled up with pride. "You sure did, sweetheart. You sure did." But the moment I announced my purchase to my parents, everything changed. Their faces on the video call were tight, uncomfortable. My sister Sabrina was hovering behind them with her designer purse, and I could feel the tension immediately. "How many bedrooms?" my mom asked, her smile looking forced. "3, and a nice yard," I replied, still excited. "That's quite a purchase for someone your age," my dad said, his jaw clenching. Then Sabrina leaned into the frame with her perfectly styled hair and said, "Must be nice to have that kind of money to throw around." My mom's eyes darted to her nervously. "You know your sister's been having a rough time, Arden." I should have seen the warning signs right there. But nothing could have prepared me for what came next. A week later, they ambushed me. "We need to discuss a family matter," my dad said in his business tone, the one he used for firing employees. My mom was dabbing her eyes with tissues. "We've always put family first, haven't we? Always supported each other." Then came the bombshell. "Your sister needs stability more than you do. She has plans for that house, creative plans. You can keep renting." I stayed at them, completely stunned. "This is my house. I worked for it. Sabrina can earn her own." "Don't be selfish," my mom snapped. "Family helps family." The next day, that certified letter arrived. Now here's where it gets really crazy. As I'm reading through these legal documents, I see my Aunt Ramona's name as the financial backer of the lawsuit. There's even an email from Sabrina claiming I stole her opportunity. They wanted me to transfer my house deed to Sabrina, continue paying the mortgage for 18 months, give them $300,000 for child rearing costs, and write a formal apology for damaging family trust. Can you believe that? They literally wanted me to give away my house, keep paying for it, and pay them $300,000 on top of it. My hands were shaking as I called my grandfather. "They've gone too far this time," he said, his voice hard with anger. That's when reality hit me. I spent the next hour researching attorneys, and my heart sank when I saw retainer fees starting at $10,000. Money I didn't have after my down payment and closing costs. I was going to have to defend myself. But here's the thing about working for everything you have, it makes you tough. And as I sat there surrounded by moving boxes I hadn't even unpacked yet, something stronger than fear took over. Determination. You want to know what really happened here? Let me tell you the real story. I started working when I was 15 years old. $5.25 an hour at a coffee shop, splitting tips between 3 baristas. I can still smell that burnt espresso and feel my feet aching after 8-hour shifts. While I was working, my parents threw Sabrina a sweet 16 party that cost 3 months of my wages. Designer dress, chocolate fountain, the works. At 18, when I asked my parents to help with college applications, you know what my dad said? "You're an adult now. Time to stand on your own feet." So I found a $400 apartment, roaches included, and started my real journey to independence. For 15 years, I worked multiple jobs while going to night school. I saved every penny, tracked every expense, lived on ramen and dreams. Meanwhile, my parents were paying off Sabrina's $90,000 student loans, funding her semesters abroad in Paris and Rome, and giving her thousands for creative supplies. When I needed emergency dental work and asked for help, my dad literally emailed back, "Figure it out." That same week, they transferred $2,000 to Sabrina for art supplies. The evidence was all there in black and white: bank statements, emails, receipts. 15 years of building my life brick by brick while they bankrolled my sister's every whim. But it gets worse. I discovered that my Aunt Ramona, who was backing their lawsuit, had been foreclosed on 5 years earlier and was living in my parents' guest house. She wasn't just supporting them, she was looking for her own backup plan. And Sabrina, she'd just been evicted from her studio apartment 3 weeks before they filed the lawsuit. The timing was too perfect. They saw my success and decided it was time to cash in. Now, I won't lie to you, the next few weeks were brutal. They launched a full campaign against me. My aunt would drive by my house taking pictures. Anonymous complaints were filed about my character at work. They sent letters to our entire extended family painting me as a selfish, ungrateful daughter who'd abandoned her family values. But you know what? For every attack they launched, I found more support. My grandfather brought me decades of family financial records. My cousin Thomas reached out, telling me they'd tried the same thing with his auto shop. Neighbors I'd never met brought me food and organized watch shifts when my aunt's harassment escalated. Even my old boss from the coffee shop offered to be a character reference. "Remember that Employee of the Year award?" she wrote. "Happy to help." The preliminary hearing was set, and I requested unpaid leave from work to prepare. I spent every free moment studying legal procedures, filing motions, organizing evidence. The court clerk was impressed with my paperwork. "This is surprisingly thorough," she said. Finally, the day arrived. I walked into that courthouse wearing my grandmother's leather document case, filled with 15 years of receipts, bank statements, and proof of my independence. My family showed up in matching Family First t-shirts, complete with my mom's carefully smudged mascara and my dad's theatrical attorney. But here's what they didn't expect. The judge saw right through their performance. When my dad's lawyer claimed I owed them $300,000 in child-rearing costs, I objected immediately. Standard child care costs don't create legal debt. The judge agreed. My mom took the stand with her tissues, crying about how they'd sacrificed everything for their daughters. My dad testified about family obligation and traditional values. But when it was my turn, I had 15 years of documentation. Every job, every payment, every sacrifice. The judge asked if my parents had provided similar support for Sabrina's education. They had to admit they paid her entire way through college while I worked 3 jobs. Then came Sabrina's testimony. She wanted my house for her healing art cafe concept, but expected me to handle the mortgage and property taxes because I was good with money stuff. When the judge asked about her current employment, she said she was between projects because her art required emotional space. That's when the judge had heard enough. "This case lacks any legal merit whatsoever," she declared. "Properties purchased independently remain independent. Case dismissed with prejudice." My aunt screamed as security escorted her out. Sabrina collapsed dramatically in the hallway. As I walked toward the exit, my mom called after me, "How could you do this to your family?" But for the first time in months, I felt free. My grandfather was waiting outside in his truck, and as we drove away, I realized something important. Real family builds you up. They don't tear you down for their own gain. The harassment didn't stop immediately. Sabrina started a GoFundMe claiming I'd stolen her future. My parents sent mass emails to extended family about my betrayal. My aunt continued driving by my house, even spray painting my door one night before realizing she was being recorded. But with each attack, my resolve grew stronger. I filed for restraining orders. I pressed charges for vandalism. I stood firm in my boundaries. And you know what happened? Other family members started reaching out with their own stories. My cousin Rachel called to say she was proud of me. Others shared similar experiences of financial manipulation and control. The permanent restraining order was granted, backed by security footage and police reports. The local paper ran the story. Sabrina's fraudulent GoFundMe was shut down. Today, a year later, I'm sitting in that same kitchen where this all began. But now it's filled with the people who actually matter. My grandfather teaching me woodworking in the garage. My cousin Thomas and his kids coming over for Sunday dinners. Neighbors who've become genuine friends. I've learned that sometimes family isn't about blood. It's about who chooses to support your growth instead of tearing you down for their own benefit. It's about who celebrates your victories instead of trying to steal them. The dining room table we're building together can seat 12 people who actually want to be there, who respect my boundaries, celebrate my achievements, and understand that love isn't about obligation or manipulation. My rescue dog Maple has her own routine now, and the security system still works, but it's not constantly alerting me to threats. It's just there, quietly protecting the peace I built. You know, they say blood is thicker than water. But I've learned that some family ties are actually chains. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is cut those chains and build something better. If you're dealing with family members who see your success as their opportunity, remember this: you don't owe anyone your dreams. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. And you absolutely don't have to give up what you've earned to make others comfortable. Stand firm in your boundaries. Document everything. And remember that the people who truly love you will support your growth, not try to profit from it. What do you think? Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and protecting what you've built? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about standing up for yourself. Because sometimes the hardest battles are the ones that set you free.